Yo, what's going on? This is Symbolik. Check it out. You got to color the blockchain. You know you got to color the blockchain. It's a must.
To color the blockchain. Color the blockchain.
Going on, this is your brother Unknown Misery, and we're here on another episode of Color the Blockchain. And this time we got a brother named Symbolik. I'm gonna let you introduce yourself, but I'm gonna do a little intro on this. It said growing up in Toronto, creating hip hop music, being involved in the community, being an activist, and everything that we do. Symbolic Music Crew has been a big influence to myself and many others within the space, and you're still continuing that work, and evolving, bringing into 3D, digital, and all that, So I'll let the people know who you are and what you do. Take as
Okay.
long as you need, man.
All right. So who I am is someone who is primarily trained coming up in hip hop, um, with a perspective of being, well, born in Jamaica, cultured in Canada, I usually say. So with hip hop and African culture, diasporic culture. Um, and so realizing basically that our representation wasn't right. I saw that there was a space in hip hop where I could do that. It also gave transferable skills, got me into doing media. And so, in fact, it was after years of hip hop experience and life experience that I went and did, the formal training in arts and media, and eventually did my master's in interactive digital media production. Again, all of that really stems back from hip hop. Literally, I did theses that had hip hop. My master's thesis had like Abdominal from our crew, Cryptic Souls crew, and Thrust was on there submitted. That's all in the Ryerson archives. And then for the last 6 years, I focused on cinematic virtual reality 360 video. Being a format that was really it was evolving, and it was a chance to, like what we did with hip hop, evolve it and learn and explore. I've been focusing on cinematic VR 360 film, and yeah, that takes us to now. I launched Symbolic 360 podcast. You gave a mention to Symbolic Music Crew. Symbolic Music Crew's a bit of a different thing where you can't see it, the picture of my crew on the wall, but where a number of us came together, everyone maintaining their autonomy and their ownership, because some certain things happened back in the days with the original crew that I saw big issues, and I wouldn't want to subject other people to building with me and then me claiming ownership over what they do. So my name, Who, Philly, Vandal, from at Dow Records, we really innovated when it comes to hip hop in terms of how to form as a crew, and then also by doing theatrical hip hop, which really brought me into what I ended up studying was how do everything, I think, in a context of how the real world connects with the digital world, digital stories as it impacts on the real world. So we were blending hip hop and theater, hip hop and real world situations that were going on, props and all that. And same way now, when I create digital stories, the intention is for it to have a real world impact in our in our real world.
Mm-hmm. Word.
Yeah, man. And so yeah, the last thing is that Symbolic 360 is a 360 vlog, where basically if you've got a headset, you put it on, you'll be right there with me, moving around, moving through spaces and speaking, sometimes gently poetic or in varying creative capacities, and a podcast that basically reflects what I'm thinking about right now. I'm thinking about media and the situation that Black people are in, and the people of the world as well as the environment are in.
No doubt, man. And if you guys are in the space right now, in the crypto voxel space, and you're watching it, you could click on the walls and you could see what he's talking about. There's gonna be information up. You guys could take a look. Um, so the blockchain. I know you're not fully jumped in yet. You haven't fully jumped in
I'm,
yet,
I'm glad you know that.
Right?
You're not going to quiz me like, I
No,
know you
no.
know everything about the blockchain. Please tell us.
No, it's for the art, man. Like your art, all it has to be is transitioned, and it's actually, I don't. It's great for this interview that you haven't fully jumped in, because I would like to know. I know what my obstacles and boundaries and accessibility issues were, but what are yours? What are the reasons that? What's taking you so long to jump into the blockchain?
Okay, so I would say one, like I'm looking at it relatively soon. Um, so of course there's a huge amount of people who aren't really investing like that. Like, oh shoot, I've got like 8 bill. Am I gonna like throw it on the stock market? Am I gonna still throw it on um uh investing to this or that, or am I gonna put it into like that new 360 camera that I need to get?
Right.
So it's been that would I would put that one out there for first and foremost, like building up the capacity for me to be able to work within my area. And so I am eyeing it right now. But side by side with that, Miz, is like the thought that of how stable is it really, and when one doesn't really have a great understanding of something, I'm the type of person that one of my kryptonites, my pet peeves throughout my basically my life, I realized if there was an archetypal enemy, it's that the person who knows everything. I want to grow old, God willing, being that person who's humble. So it's not like, yo, this is how it's done. It's like, here are some possibilities.
Right.
Here's why I think it might. So I'm not even at that point where I can speak intelligently and with a breadth of knowledge to say, okay, how much of a risk, is this or that. But I mean, even more, wasn't even that long ago that I realized, like, you don't have to just go and buy a Bitcoin where they're like, that'll be $5,000.
Yeah, exactly.
I was divvying it up thinking like that it's just, that's one is one. It's like, no, you just buy how much and you get a slice of that.
A
That's
piece of it, yeah. Well, that's the thing, because it's like NFTs, like all the art you're making, all the digital art you're making, the VR art you're making is like, really it takes like probably like opening a free MetaMask wallet, dropping whatever gas you got to drop to mint the thing, and then it's on there, But and it's like, so what do you think even if you don't have an answer, that's cool, but I just want to know, what do you think would help you speed up the process or get a better understanding? Like, if you can ask the everyone listening in the blockchain world right now, whoever's listening, if they wanted you to onboard, what can they do to make it easier?
Well, that is a really good question. I mean, I had gotten on. I guess you don't need to. Okay, so I went on to Crypto Voxels, and in participating with DAO Records event, um, that you're saying you'll get information in some direction there or there.
You will.
And so I went on and I was like, oh, can I want to change my name. Like, I want someone to know who I am. So I'm like, I click sign in. It's like, oh, well, you have to have a wallet. So then I'm like, all right, I'm willing to do that. I'll go, and it seems easy enough. So I download one thing and connect that. And I don't know if I had to connect another thing, but then I couldn't change my name. And
Yeah.
so like, then it's like, oh, you have to buy it with
Ethereum.
Ethereum?
Yeah, Ethereum. Yeah.
Yeah. So those like steps within things, like I'll take one or two steps, or I might know someone. Like I think our conversation I talked with you was about this realm of stuff, and you were telling me about how you were getting into this, how you've been into it for a while, and I'm like, that's, like I'll lock in my mind, like, oh, the brethren who I could, if I have some questions, some old time crew,
Yeah.
like some conscious crew, I know who I can call. Same thing with Vandal. I'm like,
Vandal
he's in this. So
Vandal's the main one.
So
Don't even call me. Call Vandal. Sorry. Yeah. He'll know.
Yeah, but sometimes it's a different perspective, right?
Yeah.
So nevertheless, like I know Vandal's literally on my wall right now. So, you know, he's in mind, he's in heart.
Yeah.
But to know, you know, sometimes different people will have different experiences or whatever it may be. So for me, I feel like that's, you know, that's something I should be very grateful for, because I don't know, I don't want to say like, oh my, but someone who's like into, let's say, tech as much as I have been or has been exposed. So I don't know if you're asking generally. For me, that's like a
For
little bit
you.
of a hiccup that may make me, for me, right?
Yeah.
For,
Yeah.
you know, and what I would imagine that would be to varying degrees a hindrance for different people if you have to hunt down little bits, or if things aren't together. And I understand there are different reasons why. It could be security or whatever it is, that it's like you don't want maybe it all in one, but I don't know that. I'll just say, when I want to do something, I've gotten to a point in my life where I'm like, all right, I'm interested. Click,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm going. We're rolling. We're driving. But now it's like, oh yeah, you're gonna need a wheel. Well, actually, you're gonna need 4 wheels.
Yeah.
All right, fine. You go like, get the wheel, get that wheel, got it on. Oh, do you want seats? So I feel like that's a thing with technology has gotten so smooth and streamlined that if you have to do different things, then that's a bit of a roadblock.
Yeah, true. Okay. You know, I just wanted to know. I'm curious, you know, because we want to make it more accessible. Yo, what's that? What's playing behind you? Let people know.
Okay, so I actually built a green screen, and so that is so in Zoom I have it playing I Am, which is a um, uh, I contributed to a poetry competition, Black Futures on Eglinton, and then I created. It's actually, I was experimenting with something I haven't been doing, which is using the 360 camera and instead of either cropping down only a part so that you can see it normally, or making it 360. Instead, what I did is I warped it so that you're seeing the 360 image within a frame.
It's amazing, man. It's really cool what you're making, yo. Honestly, yo, it's really cool what you're making, and like you bringing this into this space. Yo, there's a lot of like 3D art, 4D art. We're in VR worlds, but when it comes to like, you can be one of the first minting this type of stuff, minting this
Right.
type of art in this space, man. It's it's awesome, man. And even just having the knowledge of it is, you could really add on to a lot of like, empower a lot of other startups and brands and work together, and also empower your pockets by doing it at the same time, getting paid for what you
And,
built, skill sets that you built and acquired. You know what I mean? So
and speaking to color the blockchain, that's one thing. Like, if anyone can say anything about Obama, like how they increased the drone attacks, they did whatever you know, things that are negative. But for Black people to see a head of state that is a Black man, I'm like, that's awesome. That is good for their psyche.
yeah,
And so, going back to what you were saying is, right now, to be able to be an innovator in a space, like the same similar goes with 360 video, where it's like my mentors, yeah, they were like the first I've ever seen, and then I jumped on it.
right.
And like, and so, you know, so 6 years ago, that's when I first started creating content. And so for someone to like, okay, so I was in the Boys and Girls Club while I was doing, you know, schooling and stuff. I was teaching media, and I literally had young Black boys saying, I don't believe you worked in video games. And I'm like, wait, what now? I don't believe. I'm like, I worked in a video game company. I've worked in a couple of video game companies. They're
Right.
like, I don't believe you. And I'm like, who do you think makes video games? Like
Yeah.
wizards, right?
Yeah.
And
I
just
feel you, though.
and just connecting to that one point, I wanted to just say, like, it is because just like at that point, someone hit me up with the information, with friends and people in my space. So it's the same way right now is like, right now is that pivotal moment where you're like, yo, come and let me tell you about these things. And I'm like, what? This connects to what I've been envisioning for so long. This is possible. You're working on this? Oh, shoot. So it makes me like, I'm down, and not just to be like, oh, I'm going to be first to do some shit. Cause we come from hip hop. that's what you do. You're like, okay, I don't want to be just like that same other thing,
No.
but I'm seeing how it like has a thread that continues back. And that's why when I start talking, I'm like, hip hop, really, I got to say it. But even when we're not talking about blockchain, but because it's us, there's going to be some hip hop elements to it.
It's all hip hop, bro. Like all of it. Everyone out here is like making hip hop. Like you look at all the art even in this NFT world. It's like people are stealing art and then remixing it and now it's not considered stealing, right? And if that's cool, then like hip hop was never stealing anyways, right? Cuz we
Yo,
sample from what's around and we create something new. Like we create something brand new. You know, it's not, we don't put filters over something. We create something brand new. That's hip hop culture. So when it comes to NFT art, man,
right.
black culture will always thrive in NFT art because NFT art is actually mimicking what black culture has created through hip hop. You know what I mean? And that those are just facts. So that's how we're going to build our space. So that being said right now, do you feel it is important to color the blockchain and why?
Mm,
If you do.
right. Abso-freaking-lutely. So we'll get that part out of the way. So again, these are things that are being defined in my mind for full, a full understanding. So I just want to be very careful not to put it into context. What I might know. I have a long history when it comes to, let's say, hip hop, Canadian hip hop, and like getting up there with 360. I've studied art, general art theory, but I think I was sleeping for a lot of those classes, so I wouldn't want to speak on that. But what I would want to speak on is the fact that I'm seeing my understanding. So to get to the point is I understand there to be an opportunity when it comes to currency, a new form of currency in a time that, again, something that I have done some studies and research, the colonization, neo-colonization, slavery, these afflictions on human society, were coming to a point where we're in the digital age. We're just firmly stepped into the digital age,
Mm-hmm.
and so there's so much change that is destined, it's promised, it's inevitable. The question is, with the social change, if we feel we've kind of elevated in some way, which is kind of the trend that we act like, wow, if we were living back in that way. Relatively recently, it's people are getting nostalgic about like having farms and stuff, but we've had this progress society, right? Like coming 80s, 90s, 2000s, like the new is the progress. Why do you have an old thing? We have to make a new product of that same thing we already mastered like 5 years ago, but still change the shape a little bit. This is the new one. Which one do you want? New iPhone, etc. So I think we're rethinking a lot of things. So the question is, will we rethink in an uplifting and inclusive way? I'd say primarily Black people, but with shadism, Black and brown have been eliminated from history. I thought I didn't like history when I didn't like school. I didn't like history when I was in school, and then I had to have elders show me like, oh, no, you were in history. And I'm like, what? I'm reading it, sucking it up, and then it took a lot longer before I could realize, oh no, anything I read, just know that you are there. We were erased from it. And so with something like the creating a value around blockchain, and of course it goes further than that, but like being able to verify and being active, I think it's super important for Black and brown people to be present and to have a voice in the innovation, and then to both reap the rewards from it, because like that's what happens. You do the work, and then there's some fruit comes out of it, but also to keep it honest, so to speak, to keep like, so that it's moving in a direction that it's like to check it, to be like, yo, this has to have certain parameters that are in line, let's say with cultural parameters or moral or ethical parameters or whatever it may be.
Mm-hmm. No, yo, that's a great answer, man. I would say even me as a brown person, though, Black power first. Without Black power first, there can't be any brown power. there can't be any power like equality or empowerment. And that's just how I personally feel. I feel that uh, when I say I've been framed by police, I've
Mm-hmm.
faced my fair share of racism. Um, I've been mistaken as an African man many times in my life. First of all, and but regardless of all of that, it's like, yo, there are certain times when it's not even about me no more. This is um, when when I'm involved. My perspective of being involved in Color the Blockchain is that yo, I know who I am. I know that we're fighting a system of white power. A system of white power created the construct of color, and beyond all these constructs, we're all like we're in the same struggle against the same system. However, it's black power first because that's just how it has been when we look at history from back then to right now. You could go to
Yeah.
India, where I'm from, and if you're really about people power, you're gonna have to say black power first. So most definitely, I just want to put that out there every time something like that's brought up. I want to put that out there because it's very important to put that out there at a time like this. You know what I mean? But
Mm-hmm.
everything you said like really resonates with me, and I agree with all of it, man. You know,
Yo,
all of it.
I'm super excited, and like it's like a door has been. It's kind of like it's been just like open like this for a while, and I just came up at certain points and like, what's this crack in this door?
Yeah.
Where's this door lead? But I didn't really walk up to it, and then like you're saying, Vandal is like, he's giving me information and so forth, and then getting me involved, being like telling me about technically how the was it NFC
NFTs. NFTs.
NFC. It's like how they figured this innovative way to connect this digital art with the music, and so
Yeah.
they're rolling on it. And then yourself as well today and right here with what you've been telling both off air
Yeah.
and here. It's very exciting, and it's like, oh, and now it's like the door is just like opening a little more, like
Yeah.
my head
Yeah.
can fit through. I'm like, oh, let me look around a little bit.
You just gotta walk sideways, yo. You'll just get right in.
I
Just go.
could, but if you're still a little bit, you're like, I mean, when it comes to something like, as minting art, it
Hmm.
seems like there's no downside. There's no
No.
downside when
No.
it comes to like, oh, let me put my savings into Bitcoin or something. Uh,
That's the difference. To get started as an artist, you need gas money and a wallet. A wallet's free. Gas money is a lot of places you don't even need stores. You just need a wallet and gas money to mint your first piece, and it costs on a really expensive day, on a semi-expensive day, because a really expensive day you don't want to mint shit, But if uh, that's what I say in one of my new tracks, if the gas too high, we don't mint the piece. You know what I mean? But it's like, yeah, you have you know what I mean? What, $20? You have a piece of digital art up there, and you could charge a respectful amount of money for it, man, and actually place value on your art instead of devaluing your art just to sell it, because how like the old art industries have been with fiat money is just like that. Art has to be devalued, and then some people might buy it, and like, you know what I mean? But or it's like a few group of people will tell you what type of paint splash is worth a lot and what type of paint splash is worth a little, And that's the problem. The same thing's happening in this space with the whales. Banksters, one percenters, they came in, and a lot of them are whales. They dress as whales. This is just my opinion again. And the whole thing with that is, it's like, yeah, we don't want anyone dictating the art either. That's why we need to color the blockchain, man. We need to get up in this space. And thank you for being on the show, fam. And it's like, if is there anything else you want the people to know where to get at you or whatnot?
Yeah, no, I'm like, I would just say Symbolic ONE is the Insta that I use the most, but like Symbolic 360s where I put out 360 vlogs and art and stuff like that, and then and my podcast is on SoundCloud or wherever you get podcasts. So yeah, that's what's up.
Nice, man. That's beautiful. And we hope to have you on a Guerrilla Music show soon. I'll get
I
at you,
did,
man.
yes, please. Did I say Symbolik 360 is where all that stuff is,
Yes,
right?
yes.
Okay, I thought I repeated the ONE again, and I'm like, no, that's my Insta. That's the
Oh, no,
Instagram.
no, you did repeat the ONE. Symbolic.
Ah, damn it.
We'll write it down, though.
Symbolik
Yeah, yeah.
360, wherever. Just look that shit up,
That's
YouTube
it.
or whatever. But Insta just has a little bit of a twist because there's ONE. That's me.
It'll be on these walls, man. If you're in the metaverse and you're a Guerrilla Music House and Crypto Voxels, you'll see it. Hopefully, we're live right now in Decentraland. If not, we'll be live there very soon. And yeah, that's what it is. Yo, big respect.
Yo, thanks a lot, man. I appreciate the inspiration, doing what you do for making change all these years. And I look forward to, I don't think we have a track together yet. We gotta do some artwork together then.
Yo, really though? Yo, let's do it ASAP.
Right.
Let's do it like today. Real talk, as soon as we can. Like, we'll talk right after this. All right,
Okay.
yo, one love. Boom.
Peace.
This is a digital revolution. And we are here to color the blockchain. Color the blockchain.